The possible simple explanation for why we never see the kids. Harry has said repeatedly how much he hated being in front of the cameras when he was a kid. There were the press calls and obviously the paps. I think he doesn't want the kids in front of the cameras unless he can control every tiny thing. That's why pictures are few and far between, and some of those only show the kids from the back. I wouldn't be surprised if they used other kids like stand-ins, specifically to let Harry feel like he's protecting his children. We all know that his recollections of his childhood are not entirely accurate, so he's linked his unhappiness to a few very specific things like William, Catherine, and the press. He can't control William or Camilla, but he can control the pictures. It's particularly odd because they seem to do a bunch of things without the kids. Harry isn't taking the royal anchor babies to Disneyland and offering photos of himself and Meghan as a compromise so the kids can play. He's not taking them to pick out Christmas trees. He's not biking with Archie in a basket. They're not taking them out to dinner. For all his frustration with the paparazzi, the royal family seems to have managed a pretty good working relationship with the public and media in regards to letting the kids go out and about relatively unbothered. Diana made it a point to take the boys on trips and be out in the world mingling with lots of different people. In Cali, where it's illegal for paps to publish photos of children without parental permission, those kids seem to stay housebound if they aren't at daycare. However, I do believe that Harry didn't want his kids to grow up in front of the cameras, but what Meghan wants, Meghan gets. And if Meghan thought her kids could be used to as narc fuel for her, then they absolutely would be. I think Meghan has issues with how her kids look or act, or else she doesn't want them to steal focus from her. And it wouldn't take much for her to diminish the kids. Just one time of a kid acting out, and a narc mommy never lets it go. Just one perceived imperfection, and narc mommies have a tendency to be less than forgiving of a flaw in anything that's expected to reflect her perfection. She's not the type of woman who wants to be perceived as the type of mother who can't control her kids. An example of this is Prince Louis, who to Sugars is a petulant brat who can't behave. Meghan would absolutely skeeve if she ever was out with her kids with them having a full-blown tantrum or acting naughty because in her mind she told Archie manners to make the man. I believe that her children in her eyes are simply an accessory to her, and until she finds the right way to utilize them to her benefit, they will continue to stay hidden. There's also no question in my mind that by the time Lily turns 18, she'll be taken to a plastic surgeon. Meghan needs and wants perfection. She must have the biggest, best, most expensive, most exclusive, most rarest everything, including her children. They must be the truest resemblance to Diana, more perfect and more resembling Granny Diana than those Wales children. Quite clearly, they are none of those things, so they are hidden away and lied about by their parents. Archie repeatedly the entire Bible backwards in perfect Aramaic language at 1 year old. Lily has blue eyes just like Diana's, and no one can contradict these claims as children hidden away. Classic narc move. This is Harry's choice as much as Meghan's. His jealousy of William with a perfect wife and children forces him to hide his own children away. They will never be merged for money. They would have to reveal their children they both see as not perfect enough. One commenter said, "I've read every excuse in the book as to why the Harkles kids are MIA. None of them entirely track, based on the openly displayed MOs of Harry. Since when does Harry behave like any kind of a caring or engaged father, and Meghan a doting mother?" Conversely, it's been posited to death Megs will any moment now merge the kids, sell little princess and prince, clothing lines, etc. So far, crickets. Meghan tells multiple glowing fairy tales about baptisms and birthday parties, zero photos. Harry is protecting the kids by keeping them hidden. He's been conducting his life uninterruptedly as a supposed father of 2 young children, exactly like a man without children. Polo, flying here and there, all over creation pimping his vile book. Meghan the same, flouncing around for photo ops with her chiclet grin, hiking with friends. People like to say they're just disengaged, shitty, self-involved parents, and the kids are being raised by an army of nannies. Maybe. But the bottom line is, they simply do not behave in any way like parents, and there is far too much murky and weirdness about those children's births and whereabouts on multiple occasions. I'm team no kids until conclusively proven otherwise, not by sparsely doled out pixelated back-of-the-head photos of awkwardly held shape-shifting kids whose hair changes color every time they're displayed. Another commented, I feel Harry draws the line on the kids being paraded in front of the paps, staged photo shoots for magazines, and released candid photos for no reason. I can understand this to a point, as his entire childhood was documented in the tabloids. If I recall correctly, it was reported Meghan was negotiating with a magazine for exclusive photos of Archie as a newborn, but either the palace or Her Majesty the late Queen squashed it, so there was no photo shoot and no payout. I believe Meghan has no issues using the kid for photo ops, as we've seen with the photo in Canada waking the dog and the one of Archie on his way home from school. I think so too. For her, I think she's all or nothing, meaning if she doesn't get the price she wants, she doesn't accept a lower amount. No one is going to pay the high figure she thinks is their value. I believe they have huge disputes behind closed doors when it comes to pumping the kids out. He caved for Netflix, not because of Meghan, but because the producers included some coverage of them as part of the deal. Catherine learned to take home photographs to feed to the media as part of a deal not to mob the kids. When they release home photos of the kids on the royal Twitter, Insta, etc., it's always Catherine taking the pictures. After William and Harry's terrible experiences with the media, clearly William also had opinions, but because of who William is and who his children are, they've agreed to control and manage access. They were smart. They know they need to control and manage the kids' media coverage and exposure without letting them be subject to all they had themselves hated. When you see the kids, it's pretty obvious they've been through some prep and training. I bet they have a Playmobil set with photographers and cars, crowds, etc. to show them how to act in public. At both the funeral and the coronation, Charlotte was an absolute showpiece. And they had to plan for Louis because they knew he'd need a bathroom break. A nanny dealt with that seamlessly. Harold has good examples of how to get his kids trained for public view, but he doesn't want them to have to deal with it all. So he's made a choice about keeping them completely walled off. As a parent, that's his responsibility. When they decide to exploit them, they'll figure out a way to do it that maximizes income. Keeping them out of the public eye will only stoke demand, I'm sure they hope. And they're too young for exploitation by paps, so it would stink of hypocrisy to trot them out after claiming they want their children to be private citizens, while simultaneously claiming their royal status. What do you think about Harry and Meghan always hiding their children? Let us know your thoughts below in the comment section. We hope you found this video helpful. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this newsletter. See you in the next videos. Goodbye.